and welcome to my home. Today I'm going to make a delicious apple dish. Yes, it's going to be sauteed in butter and cinnamon and a little bit of sugar. It's going to be so delicious. But before we go there, I want to let you know that I have other tasty recipes on my channel that are quick and easy. I also do container gardening tips where I show you how to grow fresh vegetables in containers, whether you have 1 pot or 50 pots. I also do product reviews and I have meditation videos. But for now, let's go make that apple dish. Here we go. I already peeled my apples and now I'm taking off the core and I'm going to make them sliced fairly thick. I'm not going to do a too thin of a slice because I don't want this to turn into applesauce. I want it to be nice, chunky apples, cinnamon, and butter. How can you go wrong? So I'm going to finish off these apples and you're going to meet me back at the stove. I have out my fry pan and I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of butter, and I want to get that nice and melty in there. I have my pan that's on a medium high, so for my stove it goes by numbers on the dial, so I have it turned to around 6. So the butter is starting to bubble a little bit and it's melting, so I'm going to put in my apples. Now if I didn't tell you before, I did 6 apples. A couple of them were kind of small. I'm going to put a tablespoon of butter, tablespoon of white sugar, and I have half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now I might put a little more in there if I think I need it, but right now I'm going to start with just a half a teaspoon. And I'm going to let this start to cook down to the point where some of the cinnamon is starting to get thick and gooey on the bottom of the pan. And when it does that, I'm going to pour in some water to finish off the cooking process. But right now, I think I'm going to let it go and start cooking down a bit. You can see it's starting to get a little thick right here in the corner, if you can see that. A little thicker there. Let me hold it up. Getting a little thicker there in the corner. And that's what I'm looking for. I want it to start to get dark and syrupy looking before I add the water in. I do that because I want to get some of that cinnamon flavor deepened and having it cook down along with some of the juices that are coming out of the apple, and that's going to marry with the butter that I have in there. So that's going to go for a few seconds. So this is not the time to leave it alone by itself, or you might have a little problem. Okay. Nope, that didn't take long. So now I'm going to go ahead, since I got all those bubbles in there of the cinnamon bubbling around and it's getting dark and almost getting ready to stick to the pan, I'm going to pour in a cup of water. And that water is going to help stew those apples down until they're nice and tender. Now at this point, if you think you need some more cinnamon in there, you go ahead and sprinkle a little more cinnamon. That's going to be the taste. I'm going to put a little more cinnamon in there. And I'm going to come back and check on this in about 5 minutes and see where we're at as far as the tenderness of the apples. Be right back. Alright, 5 minutes has elapsed. If when you're cooking it you find that your pan is starting to get too dry, you can add a couple of tablespoons of water until you get it down to the tenderness that you want. But this is exactly the way I like mine. It has the right amount of tenderness. I like a little bit of bite to my apples when I cook them like this. I'm going to dish up some and taste it for you. So hang in there, hang tight. There she is, nice and done. Let me go in there and get a taste. Okay, going in for a taste. I can smell the cinnamon, that butter, ooh, a little bit of sugar. That is so tasty. You got just a little bit of a bite of the apple. It's tender on the inside. All the flavors came together. This is a great breakfast item, but you can also serve this as a side dish with some pork, for example. Well, that's it for now. Bye-bye.